Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the PBL midweek show, where we look at last week's fixtures, we'll look at next week's fixtures, and we'll talk about the PBL Cup and what happened there. I'm joined with Booch and Brommy. How are you?
Doing well. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good. So we'll keep last week brief because we talked a lot about it in the last midweek show. But we had quite a few surprise fixtures and winners. I think the biggest one was Flores beating Mikey, which I don't think anyone predicted really. It wasn't a decision. It was a pretty dominant performance. Mikey was just moving forward the whole fight. And yeah, he was just getting countered a lot, and I know he was disappointed with it. What did you two think about it?
I was actually just as surprised as anybody else was to see it, but I don't know. I mean, it's one of those wild card type of scenarios. It's not quite the same as the normal season. It's got a different feel to it. This is the first time I participated in it. Honestly, it's all foreign to me, but I could already feel like it. This is the one that counts. Like in your guys' mind, it seems like this is the coveted prize. So I feel like all bets are off in a way. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised by any of the outcomes.
Yeah, it's just that where Mikey just came from the Premier League and like had a pretty good performance against Rax even in losing, and then Flores was like no one expects him to do well. It's just the way he dominated the Mikey fight. I just don't think anyone expected it really.
I think sometimes you find yourself in a position of not having any expectations placed on you. It's actually easier to pull off that win because you're not even expecting to have to worry about it. Just become at peace with it and then just go into it. But I don't know. Everybody's got their own take on it. But for me, I feel like the more expectation there is for me to win or do well, the more stress I feel before a match.
Yeah. Do you feel you have a favourable matchup next week with Flores?
Um, I feel like that's probably the worst style for me to have to face, to be perfectly honest with you, is the evasive, back foot style fighter. So it's really going to come down to a question of, am I going to be patient enough? And, am I going to, bring a focused game plan? I have a tendency to over practice sometimes on the day of. I feel like I'm better off if I just don't play much of anything and then jump straight in. But if I over
Yeah.
pursue, if I get too aggressive, there's a good chance that you could see him coming out on top. Conversely, if I play my cards right, I really might be getting that 6th, 7th round knockout. You never know.
Yeah, because the way to beat Flores, everyone knows it. It's just like you don't want to put yourself on the ropes for 8 rounds and just hope he comes forward because sometimes he'll refuse to come forward, and I get it can be frustrating for a forward fighter. And I understand why people would move forward. He's a tricky one. He's a tricky one.
Definitely,
Yes.
definitely. I didn't expect him to win, but credit to him.
Yeah.
Credit to him. I'm surprised me. Excuse me. I can't believe it really, but I'm happy for him. Everyone put a fuel behind him, and he's turned it around, and he's got some good momentum. So good on him.
It was one of the fights I commentated last week with Mikey, and Mikey was a bit disappointed with his performance because it's kind of like you can watch him fight, you know what to do. You just don't want to do it if you're playing the game for like more fun. You don't want to just be like waiting around for someone else. You kind of want to put your pace on him, but that's what Flores wants. He wants you to put the pace on him so he can use his game plan of kind of like avoiding and countering, which worked really well.
I have noticed he does have a tendency to really, really analyze the fights in advance, and it's very cerebral in that sense. Like he's always thinking about it. And I mean, obviously, his game plan doesn't change from fight to fight, but I think he really goes out, sets about analyzing his opponent. The week before. I mean, he seems like every post I've seen him make, he's put a lot of thought into things.
Yeah, it's just because no one have expectations on him. So if he does like well It's more it's more shocking because no one expected it, and it's better than like say if Darkseid finished like third, or people expecting to finish like top two to be a disappointment. If Flores finishes third, that's a great season for him. That's one of the upsets of PBL
True.
really. So he's doing well for himself. He's got 6 points, and yeah, as much as I don't like the cunt, yeah, fair enough. I think the other major thing last week is I've been knocked out, lads. I'm a fraud.
Yeah.
I'm a fraud. Yeah,
I think you done pretty well to last as long as you did. Quite honestly, I mean, it's quite a streak.
Yeah, that puts AJ on a nice winning streak he's on. I think he has the third best winning streak in PBL now. And obviously because he's still currently competing with the streak, he has a very good chance of breaking the record. So that's great for him. Next week he has got Danielito. I'm not sure what's happening with him if he's fighting, but yeah, it's a hard fight for him, and this is his first proper like I'd say a big four, top four test for him. Because if he can win that, he can definitely go on and do big things in the Premier League, and he's gonna have his A game on for that. Same as Danielito, they're both gonna have their A games on, and if they both do, it's a banging fight.
Certainly will do. Certainly will do. Sorry, guys. My son's just like woke up, so I'm a bit distracted. But you carry on.
Okay. Yeah. So Booch, what do you think about your fight last week? It was certainly a good one. Certainly a good one, mate.
Oh, as far as the cup fight,
No, your week 2 fight.
my week 2 fight.
Yeah.
My week 2 fight was definitely that was a lot of focus on my part and a whole lot of Red Bull. That's for sure. Because I was not, man. I had a really rough night the night before.
Yeah.
You know, things happened. And just most recently, this last weekend, I lost my TV, my Xbox, everything in a lightning storm. So now I'm down to like the old equipment. So it was one of those fights where I knew that nobody, and I mean nobody, expected me to have a snowball's chance in hell. And I will say that I mean, it is a little bit of a motivating thing, even for me. So I've reached a point where I realized 2 years into the first couple of years this game was out, what I was willing to do and what I wasn't, as far as what it took to win. And I could see now more clearly is a lot of the Jedis and Padawans are turning to the dark side and becoming Sith Lords, so to speak, with the OWC type of tactics. I thought, well, let's come back into it and see what we can do, because I've always fought the best of the best. And I mean, obviously, somebody who's going to, say, for instance, throw a couple hundred power punches in a fight versus me, where I'm not going to, I better be really choosy with my punches if I plan on winning.
Yeah.
But I do have one. So anybody can criticize me and say Booch isn't Sim because he throws so many damn punches. But that's quite literally, that's it. Because I don't body spam. I don't throw tons of modified. I try not to throw the same combo over and over again. But here lately, I joined a really spammy gym. They're ranked in the top 200. So they have expectations of results. And so fighting them as my regular gym mates has changed how I fight. But yeah, I think overall that's impacted how the fight went. And I thought it was a really good fight, and it was very tactical. And I think you could see the turning point in his mind when he realized that, this is for real. Like, oh shit, he might actually win this. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a point where you could see him take it seriously.
His health and stamina was really low. How was your health and stamina? Because his was like, it was mental to see how low you got him in the last couple of rounds, man.
I mean, my stamina wasn't doing very well, but I've learned to kind of milk the last little bit of that stamina bar. For if I need to limp it through a few rounds, I try and make sure that the shots that I land are the most impactful shots possible. It's all fine and good to have a 20 rated straight, but let me hit you with just a few of my hooks, and a couple uppercuts, and you can bomb 10 or 15 of those 20 rated straights, and it's not going to matter. So I've also been experimenting with the body punch thing lately, and I've got mixed results of that. So jury's still out on that, but for that particular fight, I feel like I had my boxer dialed in pretty well.
Yeah.
That's half the fun, isn't it? Though, messing around with your builds and trying to get it dialed in. Just
yeah,
perfect.
I think that's a good part of the fun. Mikey will tell you, he's not talking much, but Mikey will tell you I've changed my build a lot. And yeah, it's fun changing builds. Okay, we'll move on to next week's fights because we talked a lot about last week, so don't need to spend too much time on that. Next week we have, as we already talked about, AJ got the belts versus Danielito. It's gonna be a good fight. We have I'm not sure if Ben's gonna do his fight. Ben Jammy versus newcomer Cocky Sunny, which will be interesting to see how Cocky Sunny does if the fight does happen. We're not sure. But Bromstar versus Caffrey Granger will be a very good fight because Caffrey's combination punches are very, very good. And I think we're just being all at war with his combination punches, and obviously Brom just being Brom, like.
Been a beast.
I mean, I'm not much on predictions, but I got to come right out and say, in all due respect, I love Caffrey Granger, but he just not. I don't think he's got a snowball's chance in hell of beating Brom. There's just no way. I don't see it, man. Brahmi's his offense is just too nasty and too crispy when he wants it to be. For the most part, I think Brahma just wants to have fun like anybody else because he's done this for so damn long. But honestly, if he wants to snap a couple of those 2-3 punch combinations together, your head's coming off your fucking shoulders, and that's it.
Yeah.
Be really embarrassing
what
if
are
he
you
beats
looking
me
out for
now.
next week then?
Sorry, I gotta wipe my mouth there.
That's all right.
No, that shit was just sparring him that made me realize how tough it is for even the most elite level OWC fighter to take on somebody like him because he's got the whole package. I mean, he brings the heat like I do, but in a more succinct and consolidated way. He doesn't waste anything like I waste a lot of energy, but I don't think Brahmi does.
You just come out trying to take heads off in the first round, you.
Yeah.
What do I think about Mikey? He's good. Very good. A bit naive and green in against sort of spammy combos and things like that. But sim wise, very, very good. Rating very highly. I'm not going to say he's a walkover, definitely not. But I think if I choose to spam, then it'll be very comfortable win. If I keep it sim, I'll still win, but it'll be a bit harder.
Do you see anything versus his fights in Cass and Suave that you're hoping to exploit?
I've played him a lot already. There's nothing that he does that I haven't sort of seen before with him. Like I said, he's a bit green in terms of knowing how to, manipulate spam, which isn't it's not a bad thing. I wish there was no such thing as spam, but it's there, so sometimes I use it. Just defensively, he can't block the combos that are going to be coming his way. And that's it, really. Other than that, he's got a good all-round game, pretty decent defense, good offense, great stamina management. But yeah, I can't see anything other than me beating him. Truth be told,
It's just the
and
confidence
obviously,
you have as well and the skill you have to back it up. You can't really argue with what you're saying.
I obviously want the points as well.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say chivalry is dead, but you probably know what I mean by that. Is that I'm going to try and just take his head off as early as I can. So it's as simple as that. We also have a cup fight as well, where I'm not so bothered about the cup, so I probably will fight him just purely simming that one. But no, especially with Ben getting 6-3 points, against two of the hardest people. He's got a pass with Cassidy and he got a pass with Dan. So that annoyed me a bit. So I need to sort of make as many points now as I can. So I'm trying to take his head off.
Yeah, also next week we have me versus Jamie, which realistically I could either just follow him, right, and we can have a good fight, or I can just stay back. And I don't think he had offensively, he wouldn't try and knock me out. So obviously I'm at a point, right, where I don't care. I'm just gonna try. I'm just gonna have fun. I'm just gonna try and knock him out. And whatever happens, happens. I don't care about staying up. I don't care about points. I'm just here to throw punches now.
I like that. I like that because really, you can analyze the shit to the end of the earth, but sometimes the hurried, sloppy, wasteful offense is so torrid and so just frenetic that the other person doesn't have time to execute the way they need to. Next thing you know, they find themselves going on that early knockdown, which leads to a second early knockdown. And now the dominoes are tumbling. And it's like, shit, I shouldn't be in this position, but he hit me so fast I didn't have time to think. I think that's kind of like the mentality with the blitzkrieg assault at the beginning. It's when it's obvious that that's not going to work, me learning how to pump the brakes on that shit. That's the one thing I seem to have struggled for even the last decade, taking 8 years off and coming back. I still struggle to this day to apply discipline, and I can't.
Do you know, this is the same with most people, to be honest with you. Your greatest strength is also your greatest weakness.
True.
The fact that you come out and throw so many combos, especially when I've sparred you, I've never fought you in a league. So, I know people say, oh, but I do fight different in the league. In a spar, I just want to have
For
fun.
course.
But in a league, I want to win. When we've sparred, I've noticed that you're very erratic. And by that, I mean, most people fight to a particular rhythm. And if you can
Yes.
break that rhythm and go two combos, you can beat them. That's how I beat most people when I win. I'm not particularly better skill wise. I'm just better at breaking their patterns and implementing
Punching
my
in
own.
between their punches, kind of.
It's not even that. It's just like everyone has certain go-to combos. Everyone has certain rhythms. Like K5, right? For instance, I'm just gonna I don't want to make this last too long, so I don't want to get too deep. Another time, I really will break things down. But K5 fights in threes. And by that, I mean,
Right.
you'll go around the ring, he'll get close, he'll back off, he'll go around the ring, he'll get close and back off. On the third time you come close, he'll attack.
Yes. I see what you mean.
Right?
Yeah. We all have
Now,
our own.
he'll try and not consciously do it, but trust me, go back and watch his fights. It's exactly how he fights. And people have those sort of rhythms. It's just breaking them. That's all it is. And what your greatest strength is that you're erratic, that you will keep throwing punches when most people won't. So that'll trick people. It took a while for me to get to grips with it.
Right.
But at the same time, after that, I just knew that I knew that you would come forward, throw these punches, and you would immediately retreat, right? And then you would come straight back in. You didn't make me think, oh, he might
Guilty.
not come in here. He might not come here. I might have to sort of stay on my guard. So I knew as soon as you were going to come back in, I could throw with you or throw first.
Yeah.
So that's all it is. But it's one of those double-edged swords. Your greatest strength is also your greatest weakness. So some people times it'll win, sometimes it'll lose. It just is what it is. But
Very true.
yeah, against CFCBM Paul McGregor, I think it might be enough to get it done. I see fireworks in that fight, to be honest with you, but I just think that. By the way, I don't know who's won, so I just think that you're going to be too erratic for someone who's just started playing the game again.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, right. Next one. Who's next one?
Yeah, that leads us very well from the championship to Ram.
Come on, K5, keep us flowing, man.
Sorry, man. Sorry. Yeah. So in the championship, we have Bo McGregor versus Dark Side. I think that has a very I think everyone knows what we think is going to happen with that fight. I think Darkseid's going to win quite
Yeah,
comfortably.
that's pretty
Yeah,
fair. He's
yeah.
pretty polished these days. And I mean, listen, I kind of talked a little shit at the beginning of the season. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there like this. I mean, it's a testament to his will to get better and to improve. But I literally sparred all of you guys and tried to be as forthwith and helpful as I could, but also riding the high of knowing that I wasn't going to get beat anytime soon. You know, and with that, I literally have sparred people so many times they just fucking quit talking to me, and that's unfortunate. But now to see them go to something where like, wow, I actually would have to train and learn and all over again how to fight somebody like you to really have a solid chance, or bringing it forth. Like I really kind of took the whole thing too lightly, honestly. And also, again, I can't stress this enough. Name your fighters something different if you've been tinkering, because God forbid you end up with two with the exact same name and you think it's the one that's a little taller, and then you're fucking wrong. Don't do that. Don't be a booch.
I just have different shorts on all my fighters.
Mine are all the same, but the names usually change, and I just didn't change it. I'm like, damn it.
Dark versus C. I'm gonna go with Dark.
I
Sorry,
think most people go
McGregor.
Dark.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Dark's gonna win that one.
I don't see how he couldn't, honestly. No
Same,
offense.
right?
Pretty unanimous with that one. So next we have Perez Cruz versus Rax.
This
A
is a
lot
bit
of
of a
shit
rivalry
talk.
fight.
A lot of shit
Yeah.
talk going on between these two.
Yeah,
This season.
This is
So
Rax's easiest fight, surely.
I think not against Perez. He seems like a cool guy, but I believe that Rax is going to beat him in pretty soundly.
Because obviously Rax has his sidestep uppercut, and it's most effective when someone's throwing straight. Perez will throw like 3, 4 straights in a row. Like I don't see what he can do unless he's altered his style completely. What he can do to throw off Rax? Because every time he'll lead with his like 4 straight sidestep uppercuts every time. It might just be. I think Rax has a high chance of getting an early KO, but if Perez fights the way I've seen him fight in the last couple of weeks, really.
I agree. Another thing is that Perez uses the Ali punch style, which is just pure aids, and you can massively beat the straight to the punch on that one. I just think that Perez is a bit too green in the league. This will be a good season for him to sort of build and see where he's at. But again, I just think Rax has too many skills for him at this moment, and that's just my objective opinion. I think Rax probably by KO.
What do you think, Booch?
I mean, listen, Cruz, you're my boy, and I do love you, man, and I appreciate all the support. And I know Cruz is going to be more than people are bargaining for. Like even now, even as green as he is, I still say there's people that take Cruz too lightly, and he knocks him right the fuck out. Because when he's being tenacious and he brings forth that heat and he gets motivated, he can really, I mean, he can just churn it so fast you can't really do much about it. But as you alluded to, Rax, especially being the age that he is and making it a point, it's a point of pride between the two of them now. Rax will sidestep uppercut him till his nuts fall off. Like he'll do it 100 times if he has to in a fight to make sure he wins. And that's what's going to happen. And honestly, Cruz and I have always been the type to struggle against some of that kind of thing. I mean, can he beat it? Sure. Has he beaten it before? I've seen him do it. Is he going to do it against somebody who is like focused in this league format? Probably not, because this league format's a completely different animal. I'm used to having a couple of fights with people. This is a one-off. You get your one shot to do it, and there's people that know how to approach it smart from the rip. And Rax, he's very cerebral when he does his analysis and takes on things, and that's because he's a smart kid. And I think that that's going to be evident when we see them fight. I think, like you said, I think Cruz is going to learn a lot this season and soak up how we do things in the league. But even me taking some time off coming back, I feel like a complete newbie. So that's what it is.
Yep. Moving on to the next fight, we have got Vitology versus DJ Mikey B. Mikey, I'm not gonna lie, this is a very poor league start for you. I've never seen you have a worse start, to be honest, and this is a very hard fight. Obviously, Booch had a very good fight with Feet, but yeah, I know you don't want to speak, but do you want to say a few words? for this fight.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I was talking to Mikey.
Oh, so Mikey, I'll jump in. See, I would normally always bet on feet, but feet's making me look like a mug here. And although he told me he's going to try, he's still using a shit cab. So he's making me look like a fool. So just because he is, I'm going to vote fucking say that Mikey's going to knock him out in 3 rounds. No, I'm not. I think it'll be a hard fight. Even it all depends because feet just it's his mindset. He just goes in for fun, which is admirable. Fair enough. He doesn't really care. But like he's going to get to a point where he doesn't want to lose. Pride's going to have to step in at some point, and I think that he thinks I really don't want to lose another fight. So I just think he's going to win. I don't want to say knockout. I think Mikey's defensively good enough, and I do think Mikey might get a couple of a late rally actually and knock him down maybe once or twice because feet stamina's management is awful at the moment. So yeah, I think feet's going to beat him by decision.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a decision. I think it'll be quite a close fight if Mikey decides to bring his A game, which he hasn't this season. So yeah. It's a shame to see Mikey fall like this, because he gets relegated and you think he's going to go straight back up, and then he's had a, like, I'd say,
Mikey is the Sunderland of PBL.
if that was like a League One, I think he'd be going down to that at the moment.
Mikey's always been one of my favorite, but you had to talk shit about Booch being in 4th place this year. I want to help you, Mikey, like I do, but I can't. I feel like I have to keep that shit to myself this year. Like I have to finish higher than Mike. I have to. So that's my goal for the year, not 4th place.
You versus Mikey will be a good fight then.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Speaking of Booch fighting, last one,
Hey.
Booch versus Fierce.
Yeah.
I think he's content just not talk. This is an interesting one because if you asked me at the start of the league, I'd have said Booch walks it, but Fierce keeps proving me wrong. And it's like I don't want to write him off again. But that being said, he fights very negative. This is a really hard one because he's been looking good and he's been able to keep people from really getting to him. However, I think Booch's, I don't know what the right word is, erraticity, maybe, or just the way he has no rhythm. He's erratic, will, serve him well in this fight, but I don't think his in and out style's going to work. He has to really go for Fierce. But then you play in Fierce hands. It's a tough one. Like, honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this. It's a tough one. I'm going to put my head on the chopping block and say Booch by decision, but it would not surprise me if Fierce won.
You know what? I think Booch will, in the first few rounds, will test out if his forward style can work, and he'll throw a lot of his punches, his erratic punches, and I think he'll drain Booch. I think he'll drain because it's hard to catch someone when he's just moving in a circular matter around the ring. You're gonna drain
It's
him.
not. It's not hard to catch him.
It's not, but that's always been my hardest. Like for me, patience wise, I know a guy. I mean, our mutual friend Bram is like, admittedly, he's great against all styles. But the number one thing that frustrates him to this day, that makes him actually still think about rage quitting, is somebody that runs. He hates it. Absolutely hates it.
You know what? The biggest thing. Do you know? Like I like to say that I'm a very good pressure fighter, right? And when you watch my fights, watch how I pressure, right? People use the analog stick and press it all the way across to move, yeah?
Right.
What I do is I will take little steps. I won't
Cut
step
off
like
corners.
toggling, right? So I might hold the analog stick and I'm only slightly moving it because I can go across the ring quicker that way. And I keep what I do is imagine there's like the ring. is a box and it has like an outside box, right?
True.
And a middle box.
Yeah.
I always stay in the middle box and keep them going around the ropes, and I keep them to where my right hand's going to land every time, right? Or at least if it's not, it'll be my left uppercut to the body. And that's what you need to do. Move in diagonal. Don't always try and be on his chest. You
Yeah.
just need to move across him. Don't follow. That's what people do. They follow. Don't follow. Go to where he's going to be.
Yeah, right. Like if I know he's going to move towards that corner, start heading kind of that way before he does. I try to cut the ring off sometimes, but I think partly the your camera view, I think greatly in like it will influence how you move around the ring.
Depends what
What
camera do you use?
I use close.
Right, I use close, right? Just
Yeah.
move in diagonals.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
Just
I feel
move in
like maybe I'm
diagonals.
just moving. I think maybe I am moving a little too direct here lately, but I've been
When you're
trying
too,
to do too much.
yeah, when you're too close, the game, if you noticed, it puts a tether because it won't allow an impact for them both to hit. So it's almost like a reverse magnet. It pulls you in, but it also keeps you slightly away from each other.
It does.
What you need to do is to stop that from happening. So don't get too close and just cut someone off diagonal.
Okay.
You almost want to move like, imagine if they move at a right angle, they go across the ropes and then up the next ropes, and that's like the right angle. Yeah, you want to be the hypotenuse and be the top of the triangle and make a right angle triangle, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
Right. To cut off the likelihood of anything else.
cut
Yeah.
off that. That's
Yep.
it. It's like perfect example is the last round when I had to either knock Dan out or get 2 knockdowns. Yes, he was a bit gassed, and yes, I had like full stamina, but I was able to get so many knockdowns because I engaged him when he was always on the ropes.
Yes.
And sometimes I would back away from him just so I could get to the point he wants to be to first. You don't always cutting someone down isn't always just chasing them. Back off and go towards the direction they're moving, and you will always catch them. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, carry on. So I'm guessing you must think you're going to win. How are you going to win then, Booch?
I mean, honestly, I'd like to think I'm going to win, but this is the one fight where I have a lot of question marks like over my head because I've only sparred this kid once before, and even then he was showing signs of being, like a very, 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 thinker type of fighter that's going to constantly be on the defense. And I mean, he's very young, so the reflex thing is in my mind too because I realize, mine are fading. The younger my opponent is, the more I sweat a little bit. But I mean, it's like I really think if I come forward and I'm able to get to him with a couple of hard shots, even if I don't go full ham and try and knock him out, if I know I'm landing the harder shots and I'm winning those first 2 and 3 rounds, now I have a cushion that's going to force him to have to come to me a little bit. Then maybe I can, instead of just trying to see who goes to the ropes and who breaks that game of chicken first and go to him, try to just naturally, as I come forward a little bit, maybe see if I can find a few places to tag him, get a couple of those hard shots. Because really, let's face it, 2 or 3 will be enough. If you're not coming forward at all and I hit you once or twice with a good hard shot, well, now ball's in your court. If I really want to be a dick, that's not how I choose to fight most of the time. But I feel like you wanted to play a cat and mouse chess game with somebody, you could literally say tit for tat. I hit you with a hard straight. Now it's your turn. But nobody really wants to fight that way, I don't think, or at least most of us don't.
Yeah, I don't.
It's doable though.
Oh,
Whereas,
definitely. There will be a fight that I will fight like that, and I don't think you've really seen me fight that way. I think I had a spar with Mikey, and he said it was AIDS.
There's a couple of people that are the most revered people on fight night that literally all they do is stand in the center of the ring and wait for you to come towards them. Any sign of movement or punching, and their sidestep uppercutting, and that's just it. End of story. They won the round right there, and that's it. And they'll leave.
There was a guy called on. This is really quick because I don't want to go too long. There's a guy called Shaq on PlayStation who's called Shaq Attack Remixed, right? And he is the biggest runner I have ever faced, right? Cool guy, but literally, you would both land a punch, and I did it in the first 5 seconds, and he would run to the ropes, and he would not move the rest of the round. Not move, right? Even if you were maybe up by one, he would just chance it that he'd won the round.
Oh wow,
I've never once seen him come forward,
that's
except whenever he's
crazy.
stunned. Like, it's ridiculous. So it's quite easy to beat because you just hit him a few times and then he just wouldn't chase you. It was so weird.
That's pretty
But
bad.
he was so good in the back foot, so you literally had to land a power straight, start the round, boom.
Oh,
And then that was it. You just sit on the ropes and he'd just sit there and get his stamina back, I suppose. But moving
That's
on.
awful.
Oh, it was I hated it. What made it worse is it was a really laggy fight as well, so the fight lasted like 10 minutes longer than it should have done. So right, Premier League, Premier League. So AJ got the belts versus Danielito.
I think that's the only fight
Tasty
we haven't
one.
spoken about.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We haven't really spoke about that one. So that is a tasty one. I wondered why we missed it.
I
But
don't
yeah,
know.
AJ got the belts for Danielito. What do you think about that one, Booch?
I mean, I don't know exactly how that one's going to shake out, but I want to say I'm leaning a little bit more towards. I don't know, man. I want to pick Danielito, but I don't know, man. I feel like the time why I think he's going to win is going to be the time he's not winning. But I don't know. Like, I want to put my money on him. Not to take away from Leanda, but honestly, that's just my opinion. That he's probably, if he brings his A game versus his A game, I just see him coming out on top.
Yeah, fair enough. What about K5? What do you think?
I think it might be it might be 5 tonight. Well, it probably will be 5 tonight. It's just this will be. It will see how good AJ is against the top. It's like a test. It's a proper test in the Premier League if he's needed, and Danielito will provide that. And if we can see him doing the same he's done in the last 2 weeks to Danielito, then he's got to be a favourite to do big things in the Prem. And if not, if he can't perform, then he'll be in an awkward position where he probably won't get relegated, but he won't do anything. You don't want to be in them positions as much. It's a lot of fun to either get relegated or get in the top four. Like finishing fifth is so boring, basically, because like you're doing nothing and you're one spot off either going down and having to build yourself up or going to the Champions League and getting your tournament after. Finishing fifth is the worst. I did it last season. It was so awful. Like you don't do it. So if he just performs well, he could be doing well this league. I
Well,
can't. It's so
someone has to.
bad. It's so bad.
You see, I have a completely different opinion about this one to all you lot. I think Danielito is going to destroy him. Maybe
Yeah.
not by
You think
knockout. Yeah,
I think his A game he does. I think his A game he comes out and just dominates. But it's my question mark is, are we going to see that A game? Like you were believing that you were going to see that kind of performance against me versus Feet, and Feet just keeps letting you down. Like I don't know. I honestly don't know. There's a question mark in my mind. Like what Danielito are we going to see?
Well, this is where Danielito, and I like Danielito as much as I talk shit about him, and have a laugh with him. I do like him. He has the classic bully mentality, and the proof in the pudding is the fact that I'm going to say it as it is. He clearly ducked Ben, regardless of why that was. I personally like to think it's because I took his soul the week before, but he might have just thought, well, I've already lost to Brommy. I've got Ben, and that's a hard run. I'm not trying to big myself up, but to fight me then Ben the week after is pretty fucking hard going first 2 weeks. So, but I just he has that bully mentality, and I think he knows he's better than AJ got the belts on his best night. So I think he's going to bring his best night. It's going to be a spam fight, which is fair enough. But I just don't think although he's improving, and I do like Legacy or AJ got the belts, whatever you want to call himself. I just think Danielito's too much for him, and in the nicest possible way, it's just going to show levels.
Yes.
I don't. I think he's got enough about him to not get knocked out. Although Danielito hits hard and he gets a lot of stuns and things, I just think that he might go down, he might stay up, but it's going to be at least a 4-point fight Danielito's way, at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, that's fair. In my mind, that's fair.
And if Danielito doesn't turn up, yeah, could AJ get the belts? But I don't think he's not going to turn up. I think he's going to be up for it. He knows he needs wins. He's got that mentality where he thinks he's better than him already, so he's going to be up for it. Whereas I think that he thought, he nearly beat me. He really thought he was going to beat me. And I think that's why he didn't fight Ben the week after, because he thought, oh, fuck, I
You think
can't
it's
beat
because
Ben.
he felt he was so close to winning that he just can't be asked with Ben?
I think so, yeah. Like, I'm not going to lie here and turn around and tell you that I did have a little bit of luck. I will say, yeah, it was skill and I walked him down and things, and you don't just get something like that from luck. But, luck was on my side that night. I've had nights the other way around. I think my first season of the championship, I got like 2 stuns in 2 rounds against Cass, and it lost me the fight on points by a point in the end. But, same with Cass. I think he's got some personal shit going on, which is fair enough. But I think he's had the fight beaten out of him. I really thought that they were talking very brash at the start of the league before it started, saying it's going to be their year and things, and that week 1 or week 2, let's say, it's already game over for them, isn't it? It goes from
Yeah.
a 3-horse race to that's the thing. AJ got the belts. Could be the 3rd horse now.
Do you
To a
think with Cass not
2-horse
being
race.
around will affect him though?
Will affect Dan? No,
Yeah.
not really. I don't think so.
He hasn't got anyone to really play off of in like the chat now.
Yeah, he doesn't, but I think he'll just come in the chat when he wants to and bounce out again. They haven't really shit talked that much, really, have they? I noticed the last this season.
I I don't know. It just looked like you killed him. Like you just killed. Like it was over. A little head bob, and that was too much. And he was just like knew it was over for him. Like his season was over. Then like why bother pressing on? I'm sorry, but that is the biggest pussy shit I think I've ever seen in my life. No offense to anybody here that's a big fan of his, but you don't do that shit, son.
Booch is spitting fire here.
You don't fucking do that shit.
At
My
the end of the
biggest
day,
fear, this is my biggest fear. My biggest fear is I have that glitch where I'll score a knockdown on someone else and the game sometimes will disconnect. That is the most frustrating shit ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it hasn't happened in a while. Knock on
To be
wood.
fair, I had that with Cass, where obviously I knocked him down the 3rd knockdown after dominating him, and that glitch happened where it made him, go over to his router and pull the router out. That was a weird glitch.
No, I'm
he just
saying,
pulled
but
his
when you
router
do this,
straight out the wall. Yeah, I know what you
when
mean.
you literally have the only path for victory is to score knockdowns and to get a knockout on the other dude, and the first second knockout down you score, you go to skip the replay or anything, and then suddenly it's just you're disconnected. That sucks, especially when
Do
you
you
have
think?
like top tier internet.
Yeah.
Like I don't get disconnected from any other game ever. Like just this one.
It's
So.
the servers are trash. It is one for you, like a bit of food for thought, because I was thinking about this the other day. Obviously, this is the first season where we're not allowing 1-punch KOs.
Yes.
Do you think that maybe plays into it? That they haven't got that potential, the potential, I'll say, because it's not guaranteed, for the get out of jail free card that they would
Probably.
have had before, where they'd feel a bit more confident thinking, I'm going to throw this straight hand enough, eventually, I'll probably get a 1-punch KO. Whereas now they don't have that, so it's purely skill for skill. Does Cass go into that thinking, oh, I don't think I can beat Benjamin, or
I don't
that's
know.
maybe what it is. They're both young lads as well. They're both young lads, so it's very different. It doesn't. Well, it doesn't mean that much to anyone,
the
really.
thing that the thing you're suggesting too is that a lot of people don't realize this is that random chance of a 1-punch knockout isn't quite as random when we offer up the type of spam that we've been known to do here lately. If you have that dangerous straight, you have that dangerous left hook, and you keep spamming power scenarios, especially stepping power scenarios, over and over and over again, you're probably going to score one in that match. It might take several throws. And in that sense, yeah, I guess it is kind of random, but that random chance goes way down or goes way up rather. I mean, the more often you throw it. So
Yeah, I agree partially with what you say. I disagree the fact that about the power. It can literally be anything. Doesn't
yeah,
even
that's
need
true.
power or
It
counter,
doesn't have to be.
which is why I don't like it. If it was where it has to be a power punch and a counter, then I'd be like, well, fair enough. You've landed it with skill. But it can just be any random punch. I've had my block up fully, and someone's just landed a right hook, and it's gone straight from my block and knocked me down. And it's literally just a normal hook. But
Yeah.
but yeah, so I think we all think Danielito, some
Yep.
by more than others. Fair enough.
Unanimous, I think.
Obviously, we'll have to briefly touch on that Benjami versus Cassidy won't be going ahead because obviously Cass has quit the league, so wish him well, whatever reason.
Yeah. I mean, I
Uh,
don't wish the kid bad, but just from a pure sportsman perspective, I was kind of judging that a little bit. But no, if he's really got something going on or whatever, just as a human being, I've always wish you guys well.
yeah, exactly.
Hope he
That's
wouldn't be
all we
able to
got to
come to
say.
us if something ever happened.
Yeah. Well, it's from like a league point of view. I'm a bit gutted that Ben didn't have to fight Dan or Cass
Yeah,
because there was the potential there for him to drop points. You know.
true.
So I'm not saying that he would have lost those fights.
It
I
did.
would
It did
pick.
kind of pat his ass a
I,
little bit, didn't it?
yeah, I would pick him to win both those fights. But
Sure.
Cass beat him
Let's
last
make him
year.
earn it, right?
Daniel Lito, yeah, beat
Hint.
him in the cup. The potential was there for him to lose the points. But
You
he's got a bit
you
of a
want
free
him to
pass.
lose their points.
Yeah, well, I don't know, to be honest with you. A lot of it'll come down to who wins the fight between me and him, really, won't it? And I really hope it'll be amazing if it's the last week of the season. That'd make it
I'm
really
sure it
interesting.
will. I'm sure it will. Too much
It might
riding
be.
on it. You guys are
I
too
think
skilled and
I
too prideful.
I think the last season we fought each other super early. It was like the second week or something we fought each other. Whereas this season, I really hope it's the last week and it's. But yeah, so I think did we talk about your fight K5? I don't think we did.
What was sort of?
Yeah, unless I was being an idiot
I
off
was
time.
just saying that like it can either be a really boring fight if we both decide to stay back, or
Yeah,
I can.
you did. Yeah, that's
There's
where my
not
son
much
was
to
away.
say about it. It's like either I go forward, I take the possibility of losing, or I'll just stay back like a bitch, and I can't be asked to do that because it's fucking boring now. And it's lost me 2 fights in a row, so I'm just want to have fun and try and knock people out now.
Suave's is one of those guys where I mean I got a bit of grief off him at the start of the season before it started when I said that he's going to finish last or second to last. And I just think it's purely because he doesn't play the game as much. He doesn't seem to be as motivated, which is fair enough. And that he just doesn't have those abilities to deal with the exploits in the game. And again, I'm not defending them. I'm just saying the facts. Just because I observe something doesn't mean I'm for it. And I can't. I feel like this is the fight, K5. You really need to nail to be able to have a chance of staying up.
Yeah.
So, whereas Jamie, I don't know if he's going to be up for it. And, he starts a bit slow sometimes.
Yep.
So it's whether or not you can build up a lead big enough. But he has excellent stamina management. He is very good defensively. He can be quite hard to break down.
Do you know how annoying it was when I'm thinking to myself after the age, it's like, okay, fuck all of this. I'm just gonna go forward for the whole thing. Then I see how fucking Jamie next. I'm like, oh, fucking perfect placement. I get to fight the guy who only fights on the back foot now,
Mm.
and is good at it.
Yeah, but oh, this is hard. I know you're right here as well, so I don't want to offend you.
I don't care, mate.
Right, I'm going to go with you, but I think that you're going to be very.
I'd like to remind you. You went with me last week, yeah. And do you see what?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, he fucked it up straight away because he didn't use cross block. So I didn't expect that one. That was like our part of the main game plan, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you. I think it'll be very close. I think it might even be a split decision this one. But I just believe that you're gonna have done enough early, and that defensively, once you've built a lead and you feel like you've built up a big enough a lead, you're gonna go on the back foot, and he's gonna find it hard to break you down. He's gonna rally late, maybe even get a couple of knockdowns, but I feel like you'll sort of you'll whimper over the line. I'll say.
Well, if not, well, I'll
That's
just get
fair
5 points. I'll try and get 5 points versus Cocky Sunny. So
Mm.
I'll tell
Oh
you the biggest.
yeah, that's so annoying. Like I can't fight him now. That's like a guaranteed like 7 points. Like I'm gutted.
The
But
biggest
all I'm
exhibition
gonna
of
say is
naivety was me
I think I'm the
believing
yeah.
you
Carry
you
on.
guys wouldn't advance. But look at who I forgot just how much of a coach you are and how many people you've been able to like they were already soaking up the game quickly and enough time had passed. I don't know why the hell I thought I could just come back and like you guys wouldn't be like elite level fucking boxers, but like you bring in Bromfield to come in and fucking play coach the entire UK, you forget about it. It's fucking over. Because to be fair, the toughest fights I think I've ever had on the original 360 were all the guys were from the UK, except for a couple West Coasters. That was it.
Booch, if I get relegated next season, I play you. I'm not forgetting that season 1 Champions League final. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I'm not forgetting that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, are we gonna talk about the cup winners now or
Yeah, we can. We can.
right? So let's look at the PBL, the prestigious PBL Cup. So
Have you ever won that, bro?
I don't know. I might have done. No, I don't know if I have. No, I
Let's see.
haven't.
Season
No, I don't
2.
think I have.
I don't think you have.
No, no, I haven't. I haven't won that one.
I think
No, I
Danielito
haven't.
won it. Suave won it.
I got very annoyed because I got knocked out in the first round by a one punch KO
I did that
in
to
the
beat
first
Suave.
round of the fight. Yeah, I fought Mike Granger, and in the
Oh,
first round, about 30 seconds into the fight, he one punch KO'd me.
jeez.
Uh,
Hate that. I
No,
don't even
no,
like winning like that, man. Let alone losing like that.
I got to a whole
so
Champions League final with that, so I can't complain.
yeah. So we've got most PBL Cup wins. Ben Jammy with a whopping 6. Danielito with
What?
4. Obviously, that helped him because he won. Cafferty Granger with 4. I'm pretty sure he got to the semi-final last year. I think
Jamie.
it was Ben Jammy that beat him. Suave Jamie, obviously he's done very well in that cup. He won it
He's undefeated in the cup.
undefeated in the cup. Cassidy 3, me 3, you 2, and then it sort of trails off with 2s and 1s. So yeah, it looks like there's some people who've got some sort of form in the cup, like your Jamie and your Daniel and your Ben and your Cassidy Granger, but I think it's really open.
I just realised this
Uh,
is Booch's first ever PBL Cup.
so there's some good fights. We've got Feet versus Daniel. We've got Booch versus McGregor. We've got Fierce versus Perez. Mikey versus Rax. Benjamin versus AJ got the belts. That would be a really good one, I bet. Obviously, unfortunately, they're not live. Cafferty Granger versus me. Cassidy versus K5. But Cassidy will preface that saying that K5 went in there and just sparked him out in 30 seconds. No, yeah, obviously he pulled out. And Jamie versus Darkseid, right? So, first fight,
Do you know
Feetology and
what about this?
Daniel.
We can say what we think happened in the fight. That's what we should do.
Yeah, let's deal with that. So, Feetology versus Danielito, what do you think? And then, yeah, I'll ask your opinions, and then regardless of if you've seen it or not, how you think that fight would play out, and then I'll sort of say who won it, blah, blah, blah. So, Feetology versus Danielito. What do you think, K5?
I think because I think Feet would Oh, it's hard between them two, because Dan's obviously going to try and do his spam thing. Yeah, I'm not sure if Feet will also do it back, but if he did, then it'd be an AIDS fight to be in, but entertaining to watch. I think he'll go. I think it'd be a decision. I don't know. I didn't see it. I think it'd be a decision, and yeah, I think knockdowns exchanged. I think 2 knockdowns apiece, and they go to a decision. Yeah.
Fair enough. What do you think, Booch?
Well, I mean, here's the quintessential, like we were just talking about these two in different conversations about meeting expectations. And I still think if you put as good as you see Feet as being on his good day, I still think a Danielito Prime versus a Feetology Prime, Danielito wins.
Fair enough. So, start of the season, I said Feet wins it, but he doesn't seem to be trying like I thought he would. So, I think it'll be, I think Danielito would beat him this season. However, what I will say is that last year they were in the cup, and
Ooh.
Feet actually tried, and he zip KO'd him. Just
Oh,
for
Nice.
reference there.
Okay.
But yeah,
That's a
so
fair bit of trivia there.
I do think it'll be a spam fight. No, I think Feet won't actually spam that much. He doesn't tend to spam anyway in this league. So yeah, we all think it's going to be close. Booch thinks Danielito. So Danielito indeed did win. I do not know the manner of how he won.
Okay.
But congrats to Danielito, and he faces the winner of Bold McGregor and Booch. So Booch, you can't say what you think in this one.
No.
So K5, what do we think about this one? How
I
do you
think
think it's going to play out?
I think it could be a knockout for Booch because the way McGregor plays
Shit.
falls into no, because it falls into Booch's hands because Booch will throw his punches and McGregor will move forward and try and use head
And just
movement.
get
But
peppered.
the way he uses his head movement is he leaves his head in the space too long, then he'll suddenly jerk the stick to a random direction.
Mm,
But by the time he's moved, it's already been hit with like 3 hooks in that direction.
fair enough. I think that it's purely a case that Booch is just in a bit more form. I like Bob McGregor, but his style is a bit too tailor made.
Yep.
For him. So I think Booch, and Booch did indeed win that one.
Booch, how did
That
the fight
one
go?
was, yeah. How did it go?
I mean, you pretty much nailed it right on the head there, Brahmi. I mean, his style is tailor made for an opponent like me, but also, I don't know what it is with you guys that think going and getting pissed drunk with your mates is like a good idea before it might. Oh, don't worry, I'm gonna fight my A game, and I'm thinking nobody does. I wouldn't fight me
So
drunk.
what you're
That's for
saying
sure.
is that that he's failed the narcotics and drugs test, so it's a no contest.
But
Um,
honestly, I think a lot of it played out in the fact that, like you said, I'm in a little bit better form only because I'm on this game frequently now. Whereas he's actually, he's starting his life out, getting his career in order. I mean, and give props to the man for getting his life on track. But like, he's got bigger fish to fry than the league, so to speak. Whereas I've got time, to kind of play this out. And I think that's really all it was, is his game plan and my game plan, just kind of styles make fights. And yeah, like you said, he keeps his head in that headspace for far too long for somebody who's been practicing lots of 1-2s. Now, mind you, they're not modified 1-2s. I do throw a couple of power punches, but I might throw 7 a fight, not 70 or 100, like a lot of my opponents will. So it's not anything you really got to worry about for me, but just regular combos. But unfortunately, he ate too many of them.
Was it KO?
Yeah,
oh wow!
it was KO.
What round? What round was it?
I want to say it was like round 6. I can't
Oh,
quite remember.
so
It's
wow! So midpoint.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
we actually had a really good fight. I mean, it was a lot of action. He didn't disappoint in that regard.
Spot on. Spot on. So right. Let's have a look. Next we have I've been an idiot and come off it. Next we
Oh
have
no.
Fierce versus
Oh my.
Perez Cruz. So what do you think about that one then, Booch?
I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know. Cruz is very much like people in our league have already been where you don't know which version is going to show up. I'd really see, which version of him we were getting. Although I would say it's going to be a tough fight for him either way because he's not been in this before ever.
Fair enough.
I would expect Fierce to be a little bit too cerebral and a little bit too analytical and too patient, most importantly, because surprise, surprise, Cruz trains with Booch all the time, and Booch doesn't like runners. And so I think he's going to find himself the same, problem on his hands as Booch. But I like to think of myself as pretty patient when I have to be. And I don't know how, what nerves, if they played a factor. I know they still do for me. So I have no idea.
Fair enough. K5.
So I think it will be a classic case of Fierce moving backwards and Piro's trying to catch up with him. And I know that because I sparred Pires and I was on the back foot and he struggled a lot because he'd stay still and throw his jabs, and in the space where he stayed still, I just move back. And if Fierce does that better than me, so if Fierce does what Fierce does, he could win a decision quite easily here.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, especially the form he's on, that he just seems to get people to fall into his trap and chase him around the ring. I just think Perez just isn't experienced enough to, cut that out and understand it and drag him into a dogfight. So yeah, and I don't know how the fight went, but Fierce did indeed win that one.
I'm guessing
So
it's
he progresses through, and he will be fighting the winner of our resident DJ Mikey B versus Rax. So K5, what do you think about how do you think that fight would go?
I think the exact same thing basically happened than when they fought in week one, really.
Yeah.
Just,
Fair, short and sweet.
just put that fight on the screen again. It's the same
Yeah.
thing.
Fair enough. Booch, any thoughts?
I mean, Mikey's been trying to practice up there, but I don't know. I mean, it's up and down, and he's again going against that cerebral, style. So it's gonna be tough for him. I don't know. I actually really, to be honest with you, Kush is probably the one that I don't think I've watched a whole lot of. To be fair, I've sparred with and played, watched plenty of videos of Mikey in it, but I don't really know too much to really have a proper opinion, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, Rax has only started his new style this season, really.
I would think that most of you
yeah.
guys hang out together, so all of you are probably doing something OWC-esque. So I don't know. It's gonna be tough to call.
I mean, I think it's going to be the same as K5. It's going to be a bit of a repeat.
Yeah.
As good as Mikey is, it's just Rax just knows the exploits now, and he's going to use them. So I do think Rax is going to sort of come away with that one. And Mikey B is sort of going to be in a bit crisis management. I hear that he's got a new calf and he likes the way it is, so hopefully he can start to pick up some wins. But
shit, why was I saying Kush? That's Rax. That's gonna.
yeah,
Okay,
I realized that. I just sort of let it flow.
Oh, you
thinking
just
I
let
knew
me
what you
go with
meant,
it.
yeah.
It's a fucking American. Nobody gives a fuck what he says anyway.
We were just like these fucking Americans rambling on again, thinking they know what they're talking about. So indeed, Rax does win that fight. So he goes on to face Fierce in the second quarter final.
Ooh.
So now we got the bottom half of the bracket, and I do believe most people thought this was like the harder end of the bracket. So first one to kick us off, Ben Jammy versus AJ got the belts. Booch, what are we thinking? How's it going to play out?
Wow. Well, I mean, honestly, AJ got the belts, legend, whatever, good fighter. But even though I know that head-to-head mode and OWC mode are very different animals, Ben Jammy's still in the top 20 in the world at head-to-head. He's one of the best fighters I've ever seen at being able to draw you in, be very patient, and also be able to flip it around and apply pressure on you by round 3 or 4. He brings and reverses tempos, almost at will, but he's he's a little bit more formulaic than I originally thought he was. But I really think he's a tough nut to crack. Honestly, I think on a good day, and this is just pretty much you can just hang up the whole prem on Brom and Benjamin. Pretty much is like it's going to come down to those two ultimately. And most universes, you play this out, I'd say 8 times out of 10, it's going to be Brom and Ben in the final. But that's just that's just life. We're all on different levels. I think, as you said before, the most polite way you can say it is, people are on it's just going to show levels. I think Benjamin and you guys are on just completely different levels. So I think it's gonna be evident.
Fair enough. Appreciate that one. K5, what do you think about this match?
Well, it's interesting because they were my week 1 and week 2 opponents, and for them both.
So we've got the
Quite
scouting
really good.
report.
Yeah, a bit of scouting report. So I thought, the way I'll say it is, I thought Ben a lot better than I thought AJ. And even though I got knocked out by AJ, Ben actually did more damage than me. And AJ got more flashes and stuns.
Mm.
Ben does a lot more damage than AJ, and I think Ben will probably get a late knockout.
Mm-hmm.
Because I managed to get AJ really low for someone who has dominated the fight the way he did. I got him surprisingly low and probably could have dropped him a few more times if I was better. So yeah, I think Ben could do the job in maybe round 7, round 6.
Late stoppage, yeah. Going into this fight, I agree. I think Ben's got too much at the moment for. Although AJ got the belts gave him a really tough fight last year in the cup. I do believe Benjamin's the better fighter, but Benjamin always seems to have like a cup jinx. So we'll
Oh
just put that
no.
out there. He always seems to have a cup jinx, so we'll put that one out
No.
there. So in that fight,
Whoa.
major upset. AJ got the belts beaten. I don't know how he
Oh.
beat him. If it was knockout
What?
or
Nah.
if it was what should we call it? Or if it's decision, but AJ got the belts, came away with that one.
Ben, you're
Okay.
washed
Um,
Hey,
again.
congratulations.
Ben's jinxed. His cup run is over.
Ben
He can
can't win a cup.
focus on the Premier League. He's like the Spurs of PBL. I'm joking, he's
Wow.
not. That was a little dig at Mikey there and Rax.
It's a strange
So
universe.
yeah, AJ
Yeah,
got his
Spurs won a cup in like 2008. Ben hasn't actually won a cup in PBL, so.
so Ben's cup jinx continues. That dance I did with the skinless chicken worked. And the next one is me versus Granger. So I will just not say anything until it's time to announce the winner. So Booch, what are you thinking? How do you think it's gonna play out?
I mean, again, I'm quite shocked that Ben didn't make it past the first round of the cup, and somehow in this universe, Booch did. That's a little scary, food for thought right there. But it also goes to show that this is just a completely separate, thing. And I didn't know about his cup, Hex, and sorry about it, mate, but it does sound like you are in fact cursed. I mean, and plus, being Irish, it's got to be double fold because I imagine if you have bad luck curse, it's probably going to go on for like ever if you happen to have something like this happen. So all I know is that I think you're going to come out in perfect Brahmi form, probably only half focused, mildly buzzed. And I think you're probably going to come out and beat on them pretty well from about rounds 4.5 on.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
K5.
You're probably just gonna pressure him, aren't you, mate? Let's be real here. You're really gonna pressure him, get your knockdowns, probably win a comfortable decision. Yeah.
Fair enough. So in this fight, I won it, but it was my hardest fight of the season so far.
Oh,
So
including Dan.
yes and no in different ways. No, because in this fight I stayed completely sim because I said that in a cup I will stay sim all the way through. So yeah, I was actually losing big time in this fight up until the 4th round. He'd got a knockdown in I think it was the first round, and then he'd won I won the second, he won the third and the fourth. And I thought, shit, I was actually pressuring him and he was boxing off the back foot really well, countering me a lot. So then I actually turned back foot. And I noticed that he likes to do a combo where he throws a uppercut to the body and then a hook to the head. So what I was doing is I started throwing a really quick snap 3-punch combo of a jab to the head, right hook to the body, a left hook, and I actually got 3 knockdowns from that one combo in the fight at different stages. There was a round where we both got 2 knockdowns in each. I think that was round number 7. And I was 1 point down going into the last round, and I knocked him down in the last 15 seconds of the last round and got the win by 1 point on every
That
card.
seems like a speciality, knocking someone down in the last 10 seconds.
So he fought really well. That was a really fun fight. But yeah, that was a fight where, if I'm being honest, I could have turned it on and started using a bit of the spammy tactics, but I didn't want to. I thought if I lose, I lose. But yeah, going into that 5th round, I was like, shit, I need some big knockdowns here. So yeah, I go through to fight AJ, got the belts. So going into the last sort of quarter now, we've got Cassidy versus K5. We'll skip over that because K5 yeeted Cassidy out the league.
Barking.
So K5 goes straight through.
My
Now in this
first win of the
last
season.
one, yeah, there you go. K5
Yay.
just breezed through. Didn't even break a sweat. It was like KSI. He had 2 fights in one night, so he just knocked the first one out straight away.
I was there.
So next we have Suave Jamie versus Darkside. That's an interesting one. So
Oh.
what do we think then, K5? What do we think about that one? How is it going to play out?
Oh, that's a interesting fight, Okay. I see a decision.
I think if there's ever a fight that was going to go to a decision, it's this one.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I was going to say this does feel like a decision fight.
I think maybe a dark side decision. It's like 5 runs to dark. 3
I
rounds.
mean, honestly, look at how he fought me. I would probably have a tendency to agree with that. I mean, but I don't know, man. It's when it comes to a decision fight, it really does come down to who's sharper on that, that combo game and who's working the head game a little bit better.
You know what's something else we need to think about? Jamie's now also preparing for his next season ESFL in UFC, where he's actually like fucking top dog, amazing. So he might be focusing more on UFC than he is on Fight Night. Due to his,
Yeah, I sort of alluded to that before. Yeah, I think he is, which is fair enough.
Yeah,
Hey, we're not
That's
even
true.
on the level of that on Fight Night. Well, there's
Yeah, I
not
know
really
one doesn't
much
equate to the next.
attention on that, but
That's for sure.
we can't. I mean, there was 10 years ago on the game. I remember the Virgin Money tournaments, and I sort of did a few of those. But yeah, so Suave might not be in it. So do you think the dark side decision there, K5 for that one?
Yeah, I'll lock that on, Siren.
Fair enough. What about you, Booch? How you see that one going?
Man, I'm more of a fence rider on this one. I want to say Dark just by how well he handled me, and I know how he's riding that wave of efficiency and feeling
He looked
confident.
really good in that fight.
He did.
You were
let's
good,
be
but
honest.
he looked
Like that
really
was
good.
partly what pissed me off so much was how I didn't just lose. I lost cinematically at the end, like last few seconds, and he's securing the last knockdown. And I'm trying to obviously, keep him from that. I wanted to jip him from those last couple. I didn't want that extra point going towards him. And he got it. So, he looked really good. So it's hard for me to say that I think Suave could get it, but honestly, I mean, Suave Jamie's really he's playing equally well. It's so hard. I don't know. My gut kind of wants to say Dark though, honestly, but
fair enough. On the fence, should we say like a 51-49 towards Darker?
Yeah, probably.
Now, this is an odd one for me because although I do think Dark is better, and if you asked me and this was a league fight, I would say Dark wins this one. However, Jamie has an unbelievable knack to win his cup fights. He's 4 for 4.
Oh wow.
He just seems, and how well we saw, he won the cup last year, so it's a tournament that he really likes to win. And he beat Benjami in
Oh
spectacular
wow.
fashion in
Okay.
the final last year.
I remember we were commentating. It was such a comfortable win.
And I
Wow.
don't think anyone's dominated Benjami. What I will say, I will preface it this: Ben wasn't really trying as hard as he does. I will say that because obviously
Right.
him and Jamie are friends, so he wasn't really at his best. But nonetheless, not to take it away from Jamie, still performed brilliantly. So I think he's one of those fighters where in the cup, it's like, in football or soccer for you, Booch, there's certain teams that just do better in the cup than the league. And I think he's one of them where he's more up for it because he feels like he's got more chance of winning it. So I'm actually going to go with Suave simply because he has, whereas Ben has like a cup jinx, he seems to have some sort of cup boost where,
Okay.
he seems to win them all. So that fight, Jamie continues his unbeaten cup run and
Oh, okay.
actually beat
Okay.
Dark
There we
Side.
go.
The magic continues. He'll
Magic
be
at the
going to
top.
Wembley. Um,
That's that's like some
so
people in
so
S12, you know, playoff teams sometimes, you know. You get them in the playoffs and you just
100%.
bet they're gonna win, you know.
110%. I always do better in a league format than I do in a cup, for some reason. So it just depends. Some fighters are just like that. They're just more up for it. So Jamie, carries on. Do you reckon he's siphoning like the power from Ben? So he's like getting stronger in the cup as Ben like wanes. So he's, it's a bit of food for
Kryptonite,
thought with that one. Bit of a weird abstract thought there. But to not ramble on so much, so Mikey can get back to his Pornhub browser. To summarize it, we've got Danielito versus Booch in the first quarterfinal,
Good God.
which is going to be, no offense,
Mental.
but very hard fight for you, Booch.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Uh,
mental for me. I mean, there's no way. Let's just come
winnable,
out and say I don't have
winnable,
a chance of beating him. I mean, everybody's got a chance, but
winnable,
like, I really don't have a solid game plan to go at him.
winnable. Use your uppercuts versus cross block. There you go.
Yeah.
Don't punch too much either. He will catch you with hard counters.
Yeah.
And then we've got Fierce versus Rax, which
It's a bit
I'd
of
have
rivalry
normally
in that.
said. I think that's going to be a bit of a rivalry. We've got the SFCOGs. Fierce seems to be on an amazing run of form, and then Rax has reinvented himself with this all new spam sort of setup. So it'll be a
I
good
think
fight
I've
either
heard
way.
Rack say to Fierce a lot. I'm going to show you that this fight isn't a 50-50 fight anymore.
Oh shit! So there's a bit of blood there between the two. Me and AJ got the belts. That's a really good one, especially with AJ riding high off his win over Benjami. Could be an absolute giant slayer here
It'll be a
in
great
his
cup run.
path to the final. Me and AJ, we're sort of cool now, but we had a bit of a rivalry in SFC.
I
But
remember.
I showed him who Daddy was. No, I'm joking. So that'll be a good one. I'm not taking that one lightly. And then we've got K5 versus Jamie, which is going to be
I'm again.
very interesting again. So it's like, both in the same week, really, isn't it? Or not the
Yeah.
same week, with the week after. Yeah. Who can make the other one fight on the back foot? That's going to be like a battle for dominance on the back foot.
I
That
might
one.
just bring out a big 6-foot 80-inch reach calf.
Do it and make sure that he has pantaloons on, because we all know that the person who
Yeah.
wears pantaloons always wins.
I have the pencil bones.
Which is why if I see AJ got the belts with pantaloons on, I'm just going to quit in the first round.
You hear that, AJ?
So yeah, so come on, we'll make this super quick. We don't need to go into it. I just want to hear, right, who you think's going to win. Booch and me will obviously, in K5, will all exclude ourselves from the fights we're in. So K5, Daniel or Booch, who goes through to semis?
Quick one, just Danielito.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sorry,
Fair enough.
Booch.
Fair enough.
Fierce versus Rax, all three of us. So, go on then, Booch. Who do you think?
I mean, an intense rivalry like that, I really don't know. I don't even really want to venture a guess because I don't want to piss either one of them off. Rax definitely has the mastery of that OWC, which you can't really you can't discredit it. People spam that shit for a reason. So I mean, coin flip. I'm gonna have to go Rax.
And you don't have time to say your opinion because Boots used up all the words that we said it was a one-word answer, and he went over. So that's all we got time for. No, I'm joking. Right, what we got? K5.
Rax by knockout fairly easily.
I
Nice.
agree. I think in the nicest possible way, I think Rax is going to stomp him simply because he's just got the exploits.
That would be in a fuck you for.
So AJ got the belts versus me. I will bow out. Boots, what do we think?
Oh, I mean, I believe you're gonna take it pretty easily. But hey, then again, you had a tough fight against Catford Granger, so we'll see.
Fair enough. K5.
I think I just want to continue the story of AJ the Giant Slayer, so I'll go for him just for the story.
Right, let me just quickly block K5. No, fair enough. Fair enough, fair enough. No, valid point. He could do. K5 versus Jamie. Who have you got, Booch?
I'm gonna go with man. I don't know. I'm gonna go with K5 if K5 can bring heat. If not, if you slip into the lull that he's gonna want to pull you into, then I'd go with Jamie. But I'm gonna say K5. Let's go K5.
I was going to say K5, but after what you just said, no. I think simply because it's a cup, I think Jamie's going to win, and I think it's going to be a close fight. I think, Jamie's just going to continue the cup magic and ride it as far as he can.
You gotta
So
break it, K5.
there we sort of have it. There we've got our next round. We got our predictions in. All exciting fights. Obviously, the league fights are going to be exciting this week, and we're going to have another comms out on Sunday night. So make sure you tune into that. There's going to be fireworks. There's going to be bombs. There's going to be absolute war, as well as probably some bore fests. But we have some good banter on commentary to compensate for that.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll let K5 do his outro as always.
Yep. Thank you for watching the PBL midweek show. We'll have a show at the weekend to show the week 3 fights, and cup results will be out at the next midweek show. I've been joined with Booch and Brom. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and peace.